Well, I delivered my advice to President Obama here, and so now I have something for Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, and it's called Nancy Pelosi, the power is in your hands. By my lights, Nancy Pelosi has been the best Speaker of the House since Sam Rayburn. She has gotten much of the right stuff on health care through the House, only to have it eviscerated in the Senate and the reconciliation process, and similar legislation too, undercut by having the likes of Harry Reid at her back instead of a Lyndon Johnson, and a pusillanimous president in the White House chasing bipartisanship to the point where he would not fight for things like the public option and no mandate to force everyone to buy health insurance at the non-existent mercy of the insurance industry and its all-too-existent greed, which she championed as a candidate. I have the feeling that she knows what I'm going to suggest already, particularly because, to the surprise of many, she seems determined to remain the Democratic leader in the House in the next Congress. But just in case. You are still Speaker of the House during the lame duck session, Madam Speaker. And between that and your replacement by the incoming Republican majority, you have one more shot at getting the big right thing done on the way down. This time, it's the Bush tax cuts. If nothing is done before January 1st, they expire. Those for the middle class and those for the rich alike. So, do nothing. Or rather ensure that nothing is done unless it's just what you want done. Introduce a bill in the House that extends the middle class tax cuts, but raises the bar defining middle class from Obama's $250,000 annual income to a more realistic $500,000, and pays for it, and perhaps then some, by raising the income tax rates on the rich in 2 steps, say 70% up to an annual income of $1 million, and say 40% above that. At the least, it would be a revenue-neutral bill, and by tinkering with the numbers a little, could even produce some budget reduction. Very hard for the Republicans to explain to the American people about a vote against such a bill, let alone Democrats. Of course, even if you push it through the lame duck House, even if it receives passage in the Democratic Senate, one Republican senator can kill it with a filibuster, and this will probably happen. Unless you play hardball whether Obama likes it or not. You make it clear to all and sundry that if it isn't passed into law, you will make sure that no tax cut bill will get through the lame duck House. And even if one does, even if it should somehow have the votes of passage, it will be killed by a Democratic filibuster in the Senate. Easy enough to find a lame duck senator, such as Russ Feingold, to walk point on it. If you get your just and revenue-neutral or better tax bill passed into law this manner, you will win big time for the American middle class on your way out the door, and will be rewarded politically for it sooner or later. If you don't, all the Bush tax cuts will expire, and the incoming Republican House majority will have to swallow it, explain to both its middle class and lower class fan base why it was better to let that tax rates go up in a failed effort to defend the tax cuts of the rich, and explain to your rich financial backers why you let such a thing happen. Or be stuck with the job of rewriting the income tax rates from scratch. But of course you, as Democratic minority leader, can help them out. You can introduce the very same bill that didn't pass during the lame duck session and tell them that anything substantially different that may get through the House will be killed by the Senate, by filibuster, if need be. Does this sound like a stiff dose of the Republicans' medicine in the last session of Congress? A bit of political brute force? Would that hang heavy on your conscience, Miss Pelosi? Would it offend your moral principles, or diminish your political popularity, or tarnish your legacy to be known to have taken from the rich and given to the struggling middle class by such bare-knuckle legislative rope-a-dope? Would it hurt the Democratic Party in the 2012 elections? Would it not be the wave you would ride right back to where you feel you surely belong, Miss once and future Speaker of the